Oh,
Let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Hello,
hey,
darling. How are you?
I'm well. How are
I
you?
wonderful, wonderful. So good to see you today.
It's so good to see you too. The sun is shining bright in there.
Look, that's why I kept changing my camera. I'm like, let me see, because the glare was so big where I was set up the first time, so I came this way. So hopefully it's
Right.
right.
I was just trying to make sure that I had it up live on Instagram and
I,
Facebook. You know,
I
I'm not. Uh,
let's see. Mm.
but I
Oh, yep, yep. You're live.
okay. Hold on. Let me see. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. Tracy, it's been so long
Yes,
since
girl.
we've been
We've been,
trying to connect and do this. Like, it's been quite a while.
but at the same time, you already know the Lord makes it happen when it's supposed to. So
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm so glad that we finally have figured this thing out. I just want to share with our audience how long, okay, we've both been survivors. But before we go there, can you introduce yourself and then we'll go from there.
okay, I am Tracy, aka Body Trace. Well, Tracy Brown, aka Body Trace Fit. As you see the name, the stroke strategist. And what that is, guys, I am a stroke survivor 5 years post. Prior to having my stroke, that's what says stroke strategist. Nothing I do is all what God has done for me. I truly believe God had me walk the path of becoming a stroke survivor. So therefore I can relate to a community that needed the help that He's blessed me with. And I can say that because prior to me having the stroke, I have 20 years in the health and wellness industry that I'm a health coach, nutrition coach, lifestyle coach, all of the above. Exercise correction and all of that was my expertise prior to. I came out on the other side of the stroke and was like, okay, Lord, what you doing? What
Right.
you doing? What you
What
doing?
what is what is this?
What is this whole thing? And I had to, but the blessing is I quickly came to grasp, because I even told the doctor when he said I'm paralyzed, I wouldn't walk. I laughed at him. God ain't do this for me to sit here. He did this for a reason. So here
Right.
we go. This reason is, listen, let's reach out to our people that need the help to learn how to smile in spite of, to have this big, loud voice to enjoy life in spite of all the things that we're going through. You're not alone. And I mean, you need a voice in the community to say, we got you. The struggles that
Absolutely.
I did, I don't want you
Mhm.
to struggle as bad. I want me to talk about them so we can work through them and you can come out better on the other side.
That part.
Yes.
I love that. It's like listening to you is like she gets it. She
Hmm.
absolutely gets it because I was just thinking to myself coming up on this week like, wow, it's 6 years. And today 6 years ago, I was still in ICU.
Wow.
And it just blows my mind to just have those pictures that rolls back through your phone because you know how iPhone gives you those memories and those pictures. So it's like videos of me with tubes and everything in my head and the draining and it's like I'm looking crazy. This part of my head shaved off, the back of my head shaved, and it's crazy because I had a whole sewing going in. And when I woke up, I didn't ha it was chaotic. So imagine going in with a nice sewing, cut up, shredded later, and then now you like, Well, what happened, God?" But looking back on it, I'm like, "Lord, I'm so grateful that I got this nice fresh cut. Because let me tell you, the way this heat is heating out here, being bald is life right now. Being bald is life."
Listen, I ain't gonna go bald, but that's why my hair is really long. That's why I keep it in this. Everybody be like, your hair is so short. No, baby, it's long. But I like to keep it
Right.
like this so I can deal with this heat and everything, honey. But I
Right.
don't want to be bald, Lord. I just, I just, I find ways to maintain it.
I understand. I understand. So today, our topic, I thought this was so good. Just because coming up, when you come up on these anniversaries of your recovery, you have to take the time to really reflect on life. You really have to take the time and just digest everything that you've learned, everything that you've experienced, and how to focus forward. Last week, I was compelled to go live and I focused on Philippians 3:14. And the scripture is just basically God talking about us focusing on our present gifts, right? And focusing forward versus focusing on the things of the past. And this week, because we're starting a new week, we're starting a new month, and this is just a time of reflection so we can know how to move forward. I wanted us to discuss, and let me make sure, I want to make sure I say it correctly.
Yes.
The things that we would have told ourselves prior to being a stroke survivor. So let me ask you, what is one thing that you would have told Tracy?
To sit in the moment.
Mm,
To sit in the moment. And I didn't. I had to learn that over time. And honestly, I just learned that year 5.
mm,
That what I needed to tell myself is to sit in the moment. And
absolutely.
to delve deeper in that so people can understand what I mean is I was so focused on getting up and recovering, getting up and getting better, getting up and doing this, getting up and doing this. Oh, I got to do it this time, got to do it this time. But in reality, Tracy, it's on God's timing for one. I got to say that to
Ooh.
myself as if I didn't know that already. It's on God's timing, but I can say to sit in the moment because you have to look at it as God had orchestrated everything he wanted me to do. But because my mind kept saying, I need to do more, I need to get better,
Mhm,
I never really allowed God to, I allowed him to do what he was supposed to, but never really fully set in it because
mhm.
I'm trying to rush, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. He said, hey, Tracy, I gave you this time to sit in a moment, gave you
Yeah.
this time to relax. I gave you this time. You're going to be okay. I made sure
Mhm.
you were okay. You had the resources, you had the needs, you had the family, the support you needed,
Right.
but you're still trying to control.
Okay.
Listen.
Let him. He trying to say, let me do this because you're
And
doing too
that's
much.
yeah, and I'm gonna leave it right there because I could go in deeper to that, but we go that's my first part. It's to sit in the moment.
But listen, I am so, like we said before, this is going to be a discussion and a
Hmm.
conversation. Just because I feel like a lot of us don't have this conversation. Um, now we are two of those individuals that are slightly different. We have a very small community of survivors, right? That we are connected to or aware of. And we are one of the ones that may be considered more ambitious, more out there, right? And I don't think that that is a bad thing. I think that that's a part of our makeup and that's how God has created us. And it's also a tool that He has used so we can be that example, so that we can be that voice for our fellow survivors, right? But that is actually the first thing that I had on my list as well. Trust God's timing. No need to rush what He has in store for you. And for me, that was very hard because I was in my second year of marriage. My son was only 8 months old. We had just started our business, so we're just beginning our journey as entrepreneurs, my husband and I, the year prior. And I'm I'm like, so I just had on my military uniform just a week ago. So you say I can't go back to doing that because who can I save at this point? who, who can I save? So for me, I felt like I had to show up in a way that looks like, okay, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Right. So even though I'm tired, I'm weak, I'm still gonna pose in a picture to still look cute. Right?
Yeah,
Because I don't wanna look like I'm not that wife that could be supportive or stand beside my husband as this strong woman, right?
yeah.
I don't wanna appear like I can't be that mom, and I felt so hurt by the fact that when I was ready to breastfeed my son in the hospital, they were like, "Oh, no, you can't do that anymore. Breastfeeding is over for you because now you have all these meds in your system." It's so much. So that broke. When I say that that broke me to look at my 8-month-old who's like tugging at my breast, ready to be fed, not knowing that that morning of my stroke was the last time I was going to be able to breastfeed him.
Ah,
It gets me emotional even to this day. It's like
that's good.
it's a reminder. But yes, I feel like that rushing part is actually something I just really was able to embrace myself. Like I feel like I wish I had sat in it even more, you know? I wish I gave myself that time to really r- recognize like what's really going on with me, and then maybe even the people around me would have seen, because it was kind of like a, "Oh my god," a stroke, and then boop.
Get
And
back up.
so and you look like you're okay, but you have so many hidden issues that the world does not even see. And we got to get into the whole invisible disability thing.
No,
That's a whole nother
that's a
story right
whole
there.
story.
What is something else that you would say you would have told Tracy prior
Um,
to becoming a survivor?
what would I would say, well, I kind of said it in both, because sitting in
Mhm.
the moment and at the same time, I also said that the second part is I'm not in control. Because
Mm.
I think we had a conversation before over the phone. I always,
Mhm.
Tracy, everybody knows Tracy has to be in control of everything.
Mhm.
I want to control, control, control. I need to know what's about to happen, X, Y, Z. And guess
Right.
reality is I'm not in control.
At
And I
all.
can say these things and laugh at the same time, because I already know this. I'm
Mhm.
not new to faith. I'm not new to this relationship
Right.
with God. So he's
Right.
back laughing at me like, whenever you want to sit back and let me do what I'm gonna do anyway. So it goes hand in hand. Sit in the moment. And
Mhm.
Tracy, that sitting in the moment will allow me to relax my mind, relax everything, and say, God, do what you do. Do what you do.
Absolutely. Mhm. That
So
No, go ahead.
no, that's where it goes back to, is those
That
two.
that made me think about what I wrote. I don't be consumed with the notion of all or none. And I think that that's that I gotta get it all done. It's all of me, and not thinking like, no, I need to rely more on God. This is not the time for me to think like, Tier, you got to make this happen, because there's nothing that you have to make happen. I truly feel and believe like this was the opportunity where God pulled us out of that rat race. So this race that we were on amongst the rest of the world, he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna slow this thing down for you. Even though you want to go a million miles per minute, and then I'm gonna put you in your own lane. So you ain't even got to worry about anybody cutting you off.
Yes.
If you need to take a break, if you need to slow down, it is okay. It is okay to just have a little bit of the little bit of workouts, right? And I love how you are with your clients, and how you talk in stroke recovery. The process and the workouts you talk about is just do what you can do,
Yeah.
not trying to do. Also for me, I'm like, I'm thinking I'm supposed to be doing still the same workouts that I used to do with with the rest of the veterans. Nonsense. You can't do the same thing. Your the weaknesses in your upper and lower extremities ain't, it's not going to allow you to. So be okay with just doing a little bit of these workouts, right? Taking one or two steps at a time, right?
Yes.
Getting up, and be okay with sitting down. And so I feel like that's something that goes back to that sitting in it. I've really had to resonate with, and I would have told myself more of that even prior. Like, you, girl, you gonna have to sit down. Now sit down, but sit down, okay?
And that is real, because even when you said to slow down because you got to take the steps slower,
Mhm.
that it does go all hand in hand. So let's say I didn't even realize we were going in a pattern, and it might even break into something different. So sitting in the
Mhm.
moment, you're not in
Mhm.
control. Slow down and let it happen as it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But that's the process. It goes as, listen, if as being two women that are followers of God, like
Mhm.
from day one, yes, I told the doctor, look, I laughed at her, look, you can't tell me I'm not gonna be your statistic. You don't know the God I serve. I won't be doing any of the things that you said I'm doing, and boom. So I said
Right.
it out of my mouth, but I
Right.
did not fully sit in it, because if I should have said it out of my mouth and then said, God, do you? I said it out of my mouth. I got up and said, let me show this man right here and let God do him. So it should have been, I said it out of my mouth, God, do
Mhm.
you? I'm still gonna do it on your time, but my the natural man mind took
Mhm.
over and said, "Hey, I know God got me, but I think I'm a little stronger." Instead of
Right.
so it was like, so I can say that and laugh, because I battle in my mind and say, Lord, I laugh and I have conversations like, well, Lord, you the one made me like this. You knew I was going, you
Okay.
know, like, you knew I was going to say something. You knew I'm not a person that's just going to let it, I'm going to have something to say. Lord, you knew that. So why didn't you tell me earlier versus waiting till 5 years and be like, oh, I wanted you to sit in the moment. Guess what? He
Mhm.
did. I just
Mhm.
wasn't listening, and I didn't
Right.
respond.
Right. What do you feel like you missed out on not sitting in the moment?
Mm, I would say what I missed out on not sitting in the moment. It's just the time to, and it goes back to we said earlier, or on a conversation, time of giving myself grace to say, hey,
Mhm.
it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
Because not sitting in the moment really, so I say it's a catch-22, because I say I didn't really deal with the fact that people be like, hey, so when people saw me, they're like, oh, Tracy's back, she looks normal, she looks regular, oh,
Mhm.
nothing happened. So
Mhm.
that was the good part, because I didn't want to, every time I was approached by somebody, be like,
Mhm.
oh, the girl with the stroke that had the stroke, are you still
Mhm.
jacked up? So
Mhm.
nobody really
You
looked at
still
me
jacked
like
up.
so, listen, I'm gonna keep it real. So, no, nobody really, I don't think I really gave people that, like, because it was like naturally they wanted to, when they, because people
Mhm.
for a while, so when they saw me they wanted to approach, but then they look like, well, damn,
Mhm.
it don't look like nothing wrong with her, so let me just have
Right.
a conversation with her. So it was like,
Right.
I'll be like, good, I got
Right.
past that, so y'all ain't gotta be like, here we go, stroke conversation the whole
Right.
time. So
Right.
they had to say, but I have to say,
You dead or you alive?
but so that's why I say it's the catch-22, because it was like, because how I moved, I didn't have to
Mhm.
worry about that. But
Mhm.
at the same time, it could have been a blessing to slow down and teach somebody else, like, hey, it's so it's like, oh, somebody said something earlier. That's why I kept looking at my notes.
Mhm.
Don't give up prematurely. It gets better. So to
Mhm.
think is because I kept allowing my mind, I better. I gotta get
Right.
better. I never allowed my mind to rest. So gotta look at, as I said in the
Mhm.
beginning, I know God was trying to give me rest. But because
Mhm.
I kept going, kept trying to keep it control, I
Mhm.
never really rested. I'm year 5. I'm
Mhm.
resting now in year 5. So conversation or that I was having with another stroke survivor a couple months ago. Year 5, what I've noticed.
Mhm.
Oh shoot, and I just go year 5. What I've noticed is it's like my year 1 has started over in year
Mhm.
five.
Right.
It
Oh
started
my
over
god.
because I'm now sitting in it in
Mhm.
year 5. I didn't sit in
Yeah.
it in year 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. Year 4 was kind of like, oh, this is a different feeling.
Yeah.
And it was different to my mind, because I'm like, huh, why am I having these feelings? Because I'm 4 years post.
Nick,
Year
I'm
five.
tired. You tired running. You're tired. He
Yes.
said sat out and you won't
That.
sat out.
Hmm.
That's why.
So
I
it took me 5 years, y'all, to sit down. 5 years to sit.
Here,
Yes.
here. I second ditto. I second that. It really took that, and it's in those moments where you recognize like, yeah, this has to be something that I take note of. And you really get into the science of it, the neuroplasticity of it, the how we are supposed to rest. A part of our brain's recovery is sleeping, is resting. And we skate clean over that. Clean over that. So I think that is so important. So another thing that I wrote down was to lean into my gifts, right? My gift as a writer and a poet, speaking, and my passion for style and fashion. And I recognized that this was my opportunity to really tap into my creativity. This is my opportunity to not just, you know, have to be focused on the whole corporate world because I was taken out of that. Thank God.
Right.
Right? Because I couldn't even, when I hear just the stories just from family members, the pressure, the trauma, the abuse, all of those things, I'm like, I dealt with that just weeks prior. So before my stroke. So I know exactly what that looks like. Right. But to be taken out of that and now have the ability to wake up and do what I need to do as far as my rehabilitation goes, but really tapping into that writing aspect and my gift. It wasn't until I started writing poetry with my creative writing therapist that I saw a next level of healing and recovery in my journey and to truly understand what I was feeling, right? To really see that I needed to sit down, to really understand why I never did sit down and was willing to do it. And it took me back to the whole point of being in survivor mode, not a stroke survivor, but living in survivor mode prior to being that person where I was working. I started working at 14 years old. And I wasn't the person that played sports because I was thinking, well, I need to go to work so I can have some extra funds, right? In high school. Um, Doing that all the way up in college. All I have one of my friends, she's currently a doctor, and she was telling me she was reflecting back when we was in undergrad. She was like, "Yeah, T, you was like the grown up back in college. You was the one with the job." And I'm like, you know what? You right. And so I feel like because I was always on go, 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 always felt like I had to make things happen, that when it was time for me to truly sit down and I had all of the means, I had all of the resources, I had all of the support, the love that I needed, I didn't allow myself to really sit down and say, it's there. Is there. So now I get the opportunity to truly sit at my desk. I get to read my books. I get to write. This is actually my first book of poetry that I published at
Awesome.
17 years old. And I'm in the process of publishing my next book of poetry. And I'm just like so in love that I can find the language. I feel like language in writing has really tapped into a whole new space for me. And so I would say that yeah, Tier, you're gonna need to lean in it on your gifts. This is not about belaboring anything. This is not about labor, but this is about truly tapping into the things that God has given you. And when I look at you, that's what I see. You have a real gift, a gift of joy. Just your voice alone is just angelic, and the fact that you training out here, bodybuilding and stuff, post stroke, child, you're doing it. And I am so proud of you. I'm so honored to be a survivor alongside you, and just for us creating this relationship, and just to be able to feed off of one another and have those real conversations. Um, the next thing that I would say is it's okay to expect friends to show up for you.
Hmm.
And the reason why I say that is because prior to my stroke, I was always the friend that felt, or the even the family member that felt like I had to show up for everybody. Everybody. I had to be there, whether it be physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, whatever that looked like, I felt like I had to be there. And even post stroke, it damn near killed me that I couldn't do that. It kills me that I live in a different state from my family. because I can't just jump in my car because I can't drive 4 or 5 hours long distance.
Mhm.
That's impossible for me to do. So, it really threw me for a loop. And when I finally, and I learned this through therapy. I learned, through writing, all the things, like, it's okay to expect people to show up for you
Yes.
now. It's okay to now even start to cultivate those relationships where that is a requirement that they got to show up for you,
Yes.
like like you need, because you need it.
Because you need it.
you're
Yes.
you're not asking for too much, you're not. So
Absolutely.
how
I
about
agree
you?
with that 100%. It is. It is, but I would say I was one of those people as well. And I believe we did have this conversation that I'm always have to show up for everybody. And
Mhm,
so that, but that takes us back to really not being able to sit in the moment because we're trying to. Oh, I'm the strong person. I got to get up. I got to get better. I got to do this. So
mhm,
therefore, I could be there for everybody. So I can. So
mhm,
I can. Or, as I said, when somebody sees me, they're like, "Oh, she is still the strong person," instead of,
mhm,
"Oh, maybe she does
mhm.
need to take this helping hand because she did go through this, she did go through that." I immediately said, nope, this is me. I came
Right.
back to this person and I don't
Mhm.
need so.
Right.
But I threw that up so fast, but I'm always the one that's like, hey, call me. I got you.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Call me, I got you, and I can make it
Mhm.
happen for you.
Right.
Without sitting back as if you look at that to say, that may have been God saying, hey, because I had the stroke at 37. For 37 years, you
Mhm.
said, hey, I got you.
Mhm.
And now I say, hey, I got you, sit down. But guess what?
Right.
I still did it all the way up until 42. And now God is saying, hey, I got you, sit down.
Right. Sat out.
So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at as of now. So when we go back to say things that we wish we'd have known prior to the stroke,
Mhm.
giving ourselves grace, sit in the moment, have time. We're
Mhm.
not in control, and sit back and allow God to do His work because we look at it. We are survivors for a reason. There's so many
Absolutely.
others that did not survive. God
Right.
had a plan for our life. He still has a plan for our life. But listen,
Absolutely.
we have to, because we know God. We have to trust, not just trust and say it with our mouths. We have to sit in it and believe it, and let people see how God is showing up for us on a regular basis and making it work.
Right. I think that this, and I just love the fact that we can speak from a spiritual perspective, because I don't know about you, but I know that my relationship with God has gone to a whole nother heights since my stroke. And did it happen the first year? No. But when I start to sat down and I start to really listen, right? Man, talk about the deep, deep tears, like how he brought me out the muck and miry clay. When I just go and do research and I look at different stories, and go on different websites, I came across a young lady. I suffered my bilateral cerebellum stroke at 30 years old, very young. I saw this young lady, she was 32. She suffered the exact same stroke. When I tell you our outcome is night and day, from how she is now in a nursing home. She was also married. She also had a young child, and she's now in one of those wheelchairs that has to hold her head up, you
Jesus.
know? And so, and then I go back to even the story of, my mom shared with me when she was at the hospital, and there was another mom that was there in the waiting room, and her daughter had suffered a stroke as well, and she didn't make it. And I did. Um Man, when I tell you life is something,
Yes, it is.
right? But it also tells you that there's so much more work for you to do. But it's what is that work? And I feel like it's become even more clear that as we navigate this, we jump up and want to meet, what's my purpose? Because I will say, for me, my purpose we always feel like our purpose is attached to a position.
Mhm.
Our purpose is attached to a role or something that we're supposed to be doing, but I truly feel like our purpose is attached to being.
Yeah.
You're being something. It's how God wants you to show up in this earth, just as you. Not a, and that's not by somebody calling you that you do this or you do that or whatever. It's just you're Tracy. So Tracy, you are the purpose.
Yeah.
You showing up today is the purpose, and I feel like moving forward, this is the lane that he has us going on. Like, okay, I have you showing up as a miracle. I have you showing up as a person who's going to show other survivors that they too can be extraordinary individuals. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
about to go. I was about to
Yeah.
go. I was about
Yeah.
to go.
And you was listening because you were supposed to go. Go. You should have went. You should have went for it. This is an organic conversation, baby.
Yeah,
There's no two as to say outline to follow. So wherever the spirit is leading you, you need to.
absolutely. 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 I am it just makes me so emotional. I lost a cousin a week ago, and she was only 38 years old. And we just started a few years back doing our annual cousin trips.
Mm.
And so we would have been planning something for this year. And it still seems very surreal to me. She has a beautiful family, so close with her mother and her other cousins, and she has so many friends. Such a beautiful soul. And just to know that she's no longer with us in flesh just is another reminder to truly live, but live with a sense of love, live with light, live without the pressure and the heaviness. I think that so often we walk around with a chip of some sort on our shoulders, right? But we don't walk around with knowing that there's been nothing but grace and mercy that's been on our lives,
Absolutely.
that there's a reason that we're supposed to be here. We're supposed to speak highly of the God that we serve. We're supposed to speak highly of the people that we're supposed to serve. And that just brings me back to how when I've been trying to figure out like, God, what is my purpose? He's like, you're still serving. Yeah, you used to serve your country, but now you're still going to serve your country. Now you're going to serve the world globally. Now you're going to really be able to tap into even more people, more women. And it just makes me so excited just to get I was looking forward to this conversation so much because I just knew that this was gonna be like why we having Bible study. I already
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. As it should be.
so turning the corner, turning the corner. One of another thing that I would have told myself prior to becoming a stroke survivor is man, I guess this goes back to continue to celebrate life.
Mhm.
I used to be one of those people that threw a cookout for everything. Okay. I remember when I was my early 20s, child, I got the little small grill I think for the Dollar General, the one that's real close to the ground.
Mhm.
But when I tell you, I used to buy a pack of two of chicken, some barbecue sauce, some baked beans, the potatoes, eh, all the things. And I'm like, yeah, come over. Celebrating life.
Celebrate.
No reason why. Just because we gonna turn up. We gonna have a good time. We're gonna fellowship. And I feel like this is something that God's reminding me to do as well as to continue to
Yeah.
celebrate. Don't stop celebrating. And don't and always remember that it doesn't have to be something that's so on such a large scale or what
Exactly.
society or our culture says it's deemed a celebration. It could be the smallest thing. So I remember I was in creative writing therapy, and I was sitting at my computer, and I recognized that my fingers on my keys were going to the keys without me looking. And I just recognized that for the first time in 6 years. And that made me feel so good, like,
Yeah.
you are remembering the
It's the little,
keys
yes.
on the keyboard. Oh my god.
It's the little things.
It's really the little things. So I really want to um encourage whoever is listening now or may listen to this later to celebrate the small things. What about you?
That and I'm gonna go with that celebrating the small things. I did a quick live. I think it may have been I don't know, one day, Saturday or Sunday.
Mhm.
So everybody knows stilettos is my thing. Always, girl, always trying to
Yes.
find a way to put the heels on. But there's certain I would tell people. Everybody say, "Well, what kind of heels can I go with?" There's certain ones that I would wear. I always say I have to stick with something that has a back on it to make sure my foot doesn't slide. It has a
Mhm.
zipper. So there's
Mhm.
specific. Like I can go to the store. I'm not looking through. I know exactly what I'm looking for. So I always
Right.
these. I see other shoes. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. Especially that's the
Mhm.
style these days. But
Mhm.
I know I don't touch it. If they don't have a back, I don't even look. Whether I'm online, I
But
walk
slide on out of it.
it's just not happening. So I'm gonna say, and that's what I said on live. I would say that the Holy Spirit led me to go to Ross. I stopped at another store for something. I had to
Mhm.
wait. They told me I had to wait 30 minutes for it to be ready. So I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll wait. Nice outside. Let me just walk over here to Ross
Mhm.
and not even gonna get the whole story. So I'm looking in my brain, I'm like, here we go again. They always got these because the new style is the slide in shoes. Everybody want to slide their feet into it, whether it's a heel or something. But
Right.
Jesus, and anyway, my favorite color is blue. So anything blue, my eyes are
Oh.
attracted to it. So I'm gonna pick it up.
Okay.
Honey, it was this blue heel that I picked. I said, Lord, y'all know y'all wrong. I put it back down. Turned around, another blue. I said, now this so I said, well, you know what? I'm trying it on today because y'all just can't have these blue heels here and just I can't wear them still.
Right.
Girl, let me tell you, I tried this one. And so I immediately only put on the left. I'm not even gonna take the right shoe off. Put on the left. But and I'm gonna tell you how the process in my brain was like, if I take this left shoe off, okay, so my problem is my left foot post stroke in my heel's been inverted always. So I still do the exercise to pull it. So basically,
Mhm.
so this great, I'm bow leg, super bow legs, my feet turn
Mhm.
out, but then
Mhm.
the heel stroke inverted.
Uh,
So it's this
oh,
way
you
and
got a
then
lot going on.
so, so it's trying to go this way, but at the same time, the heel going this way. So it's just not really. So that's why I gotta have a back on the shoe to keep it controlled. So
Right.
look, my heel go turn out, but then the heel go
Mhm.
kick in. So the having the back of the heel, guys, controls all that. So that's how I know the shoe I'm looking for. So peep this, baby. So let me tell you, it's a blue heel. And
It's a
just so
blue ear.
happens, it's a
You
blue
got your
heel,
blue
and it's
shoe.
my size. It's my size, so I'm a 9. This is a 10. So I said, I know if I have to wear because the shoe foot does whatever, it has to be a bigger size. I can't wear my perfect size.
Right.
It's 10. Tier. I tried on that foot going there so easy. I said, hold on, let me walk a little bit. So I only got the one. I had to get the lady attention. I need you to take this scissor off so I can put 2 shoes on so I can see if I can walk in both. And she's like, ma'am, I said, no, ma'am. You're gonna I'll wait till you do whatever you need to do. Cause listen, in my head I was still kind of stuck. Like I had this shoe on this left foot and it ain't slide out. Nobody feeling me, and I'm in the store looking around like
Oh,
it ain't nobody
you
for
got me
me. It ain't nobody for me to tell what I got going on. Anyways, girl, I tell you, I wish I had this shoe in front of me because I got to show y'all this. I'm gonna have to show y'all the
crying.
shoe, baby.
Please.
I
We
had
need to see the blue
so
shoes.
so I found another sister was walking by. I said, "Can you do me?" Because they ain't had no mirrors, just Ross, y'all. They ain't
Right.
got no mirrors. So I
Right.
said, "Does it look like I'm walking straight?" She said, "Well, you bow legs." She said, "Baby, but you working in it heels."
Right.
I said, "It don't look like my foot slide out." She said, "Girl, ain't nothing sliding out. Give me them
Right.
legs." You got so she commenting. So I'm like, "Okay, you sure?" I
You
didn't
got
want.
a
She
little
like, "Well,
hype
keep
woman
on
now.
walking." She like, "Keep on walking if you want me to keep checking." Girl, I
Right.
done walked all the way down the aisle, came back. She said, "Girl, if you don't get them, I'm getting them because them things cold."
Right.
Baby, let me tell you, so celebrating the little things.
Okay.
5 years post,
Mhm.
guess who bought both of them a pair of blue shoes that heel slid in that ain't got no back, baby. And I
Go
wore them
back.
yesterday. I wore
Okay.
them yesterday. Listen, it's the little things. That's the whole celebration, y'all. So listen, so it's like, so now when I go into the store, how I usually pass them up, I may take a little time, try them on to see if it works, because it's still a process, y'all.
Okay.
Every shoe ain't gonna work. I have to make sure it still supports and my foot ain't sliding. But baby, when I tell you I was at 5 years post, I said I could put this shoe on
Child,
with no back,
you
baby.
done turned into a hot survivor summer. I can't.
Listen, I'm
Come
telling you, because
through.
the next thing my brain went to, listen, I need to find this shoe company because the shoe was made by the same. I said I need to
Oh
find it because
wow.
you can't see. It's one of them weird symbols. I can't really tell the name. I don't
Hmm.
need to contact them. Y'all might need to make shoes for women with stroke, something to make it work better. Because I don't
Right.
know what it was, but I was like, wait, this shoe actually worked, and my foot
Right.
like, what's up? So I bought both of them. Like, of course, I'm not passing it up. I'm one of those people. If it work, I
Right.
want it every color. So we gonna make it work.
Right. Child, you gonna be at a two
Yeah.
step. A two step.
You better believe.
I cannot. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so funny. Oh my God.
So yes, celebrate, y'all. Celebrate. So I did. I went on live just real quick, and I had to show them. Girl, I couldn't figure out how to flip the camera. I said I just need to show y'all this, and just to see that I had a shoe that I slid in, and it ain't had no backup.
Right. Right. So that just sends me to or takes me back to what I was talking about your creativity and our creativity, embracing my creativity. So I love style, I love color. And going into this whole social media world, it's all about aesthetics, right? And
Yeah.
everybody got into that whole neutral color. But it's when I see color when I see color, I get excited. Right? When like I want the bright
Yeah. You are
colors.
you are colors, and baby, it blends in so well with your
Yeah,
skin.
thank you.
Yes.
So I feel like, and Lord, I done lost my train of thought. What was I about to say?
You said about creativity.
Oh Lord, what was I about to say? I done forgot. Y'all, this is the other thing.
There's
Embrace that you're gonna forget stuff.
invincibility. That's called aphasia, y'all. We listen.
Yeah,
We have one thought, and the next thought is gone.
gone, gone. I had somebody, and this is just a random thought, but have you had people feel like they can just compare themselves to your
Oh, yeah.
disability?
Somebody else just had a conversation. So we had this conversation with somebody else. It ain't the same, y'all. It ain't the same, and
No.
it's very rude to try to compare. Oh, girl, we do that too. I understand everybody may do that, but listen, this is a whole brain bleed, a whole brain disconnection, a whole traumatic brain injury. Like, no, no, no. This is not a comparison thing. This is a moment of something that happened that I'm like, okay, 5 years post, 6 years post, we still dealing with this. This is not for me to say, hey, you deal with this too, girl. No, it's not one of those things. But people do it. It's just and if we really define it as the definition for ignorance, it's just the mode of ignorance that they're dealing with. So
Yeah, I it floors me. It absolutely floors me because I'm just like, if I tell you, okay, I'm talking about memory loss. No, ma'am, I'm not forgetful.
no.
I have memory loss.
Yes.
I have cognitive impairment. Not the same as you forgetting stuff because you say you're going through menopause. Ma'am, cut it out. It is not the same thing. It just blows my mind. It's like, no, you're not making me feel better by saying you're going through the same thing. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, it's people do it. And so if you are listening to this and you're one that do that, don't do that because it's not the same thing at all. It's totally isn't, whether it's your anxiety as doing something
Mhm,
by yourself or
mhm.
it's not the same, y'all. It ain't. So y'all got to just learn, and it's better. As they say, if you don't know what to say, don't say anything at all. Just say, "Okay, girl, I'm praying for you." Whatever. Just say, "Girl, I understand," but don't. Oh, I got it too. Just roll with me. That's it. Just roll with me
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, just Just don't. I'm trying to refrain not to go down that road.
Yeah,
I'm like, Tiara, bring it back.
back.
Bring it back. Bring it back. You know, my mom told me, she's like, since you had your stroke, you just say exactly what's on your mind. you know, you might
Uh-oh.
look. I'm like, maybe a little bit. I try. I try not to be rude. Okay, so another thing that I wrote down is, and man, I think we've actually covered so much of it already in our conversation. I said it's okay to be vulnerable, forgive yourself, and give yourself grace. And it just goes back to that um, opening up. I feel like I've been able to open up a little bit more. I've written about it in like blog posts and stuff like that, but I feel like in conversation now, um just being more vulnerable about what's going on with me, the challenges. And I think it's because I don't want to ever seem like I'm rambling off about all of the struggles I have. Just because majority of our having a brain injury is an invisible illness. And so it's like you feel like you're all having to explain yourself
All the time.
and almost justify, and it's like, are they really receptive? Are they really receiving this? It is yeah. So I think that that is one of those things where I am becoming more comfortable and more vulnerable in wanting to share the various things that's going on with me. I'm more vulnerable in sharing that I don't have it all together, if you will,
Yeah.
because nobody wants to look like they don't have it together, right? And I feel like God calls the unqualified, but for some reason we feel like we have to qualify ourselves. So we can't share some things, such as like I have excessive sleeping disorder since the stroke, insomnia, depression, anxiety, all those things, and it affects my sleep drastically. So I may be up until 6 o'clock in the morning and the birds start chirping, right? And then I'm sleeping until 3 or 4 o'clock in the day. And the world will tell you, oh, you are unproductive
Hmm.
because everybody has a morning routine, right? Um, and I said I was going to share something more because it's more for me. It's about my night routine more than my morning
Yeah.
routine. To be honest, but the world will tell you that if you are not up at a certain time, if you haven't completed a certain amount of task at a certain time, well, you're unproductive. And this is why you haven't obtained this. And this is why you're not here or there, right? And so I've had to really come to grips with, Tier, it's okay for you to not be able to go to sleep like the average person, sleep for long extended hours because you are a survivor.
Right. Yeah.
Your brain is healing.
Yeah.
You are supposed to sleep.
Absolutely.
Sleep, my child. Rest.
Rest.
Sit down.
And that's what goes back to what we said in the beginning. I, I did so, and I could say just from getting to know you over this past year or so, this time, as we are women, I would say women that we have always been go getters.
Mhm,
Make it happen, make it happen.
mhm,
God said that's great,
mhm,
but at the same time, I instill this strength in you, but not to fully take over. I need you to rest. I need you to
mhm,
listen to me and sit down.
mhm,
I gave you this. I instilled
mhm,
this in you to be this. But when I say take this time to rest, and
mhm,
I had to take it as, I could even say at some point, I remember saying, and you know what? And family members, especially my friends that know me, said, Thank God you're okay. But I say the Lord did that for you to sit down, and you
Mhm,
still don't want to listen.
mm-mm,
Because I was one of
mm.
those, as everybody called me, the Jamaican, because I got to do 25 things at once. I can't do one thing. I can't do 3, 4 jobs. I have to be. My hand got to be in here, my foot in this, and my ear in the other one, because I have to be
Mhm.
doing 15 things. Then
Right.
took it away. I still didn't allow my brain to realize that's what he was saying doing. I still
Mhm.
said, hey, yeah, they said I'm paralyzed on one side, but I'm gonna still figure out how to have this hand over here, this foot over here,
Right.
this ear over here.
Right.
And it goes back to until year 5, he had to
Mhm.
take it another way and say, let me show you
Mhm.
how to fully set down.
Surrender.
And that's what a surrender. I'm in control and let me
Mhm.
do what I'm doing. And as I
Absolutely.
am, this is what July now. It took so
Mhm.
year 5, but it took even still 6.5, 7 months for me to be like, oh Lord, oh
I kinda like this. I Yeah, Lord, Imma just sat out right now because that's what I need to do. Yes. I girl, girl, girl. Eh, you know, I, my same cousin, that just passed away, her name was Candace. She asked me on, our last cousin trips we were on together, she asked, we talked about manifestation. She liked to talk about future stuff, manifestation, career. She was an entrepreneur herself. And she asked the question, um, first she asked how did the stroke occur, right? Or what caused it. So I actually had a torn artery, a severed in a torn artery in my cerebellum, right? And we talked about um, how doctors don't know what caused that. Cerebellum strokes are the one of the rarest types of strokes. They don't even the symptoms don't even show up the same way. And you were good.
okay. Yeah.
And
He was at the door.
um, she asked a question about what the words about we was talking about words and speaking things into existence, right? And whether or not what were the things that I was saying out that around that time. Not to say that I spoke my stroke necessarily into existence because that was the enemy trying to take me out,
Yeah,
right? God just used it.
that's it.
Um, but I remember I was like, man, that's interesting. I said, at the time, because I had just went back to work from maternity leave, I was grieving. I didn't even know that I was going through postpartum depression because I had to go back to work and leave my son. So I didn't even know that at the time.
Wow.
Um, I wanted to be home with my child. I wanted to be closer. It's just because my husband and I were like best friends, right? And I was also in a new state away from my family as well. So it was so many emotions that was going on, but I just want to be home. I just want to be with my child. And she said, that's what God gave you, right?
Listen,
And I was
listen.
like, "You're right." I was like, "You're right. I'm home with my baby." Oh my God, that just makes me so emotional. So just to be able to be home with him for these years, even though I haven't been able to show up um, physically as much as I would like to, because 9 times out of 10 I'm sleeping, right?
Mhm.
I don't always have the energy. And my husband became my full time caregiver, and he's been that parent that has been just like so present. Like my son, like look, I swear, if my husband could breastfeed him, he would
He would
have. It took
I
over
love
for
it.
me because he's just that in tune with him, and so loving and nurturing. And I feel like when we go back to just manifestations and our words, I think that that is just so, so profound. And it makes me think about the words that I've said since then. I know that we always talk about not being a survivor but thriving, but I think that's how I came up with the name Not Your Average Survivor for my planner, because the reality is that we are survivors.
Yes,
We're
we
just not the average survivors, and I feel like I've had even close family members when I share the things that I'm struggling with. Oh, in God's name, you gonna be all right, and it's gonna be okay. And I go through the same thing, or this is not what it is, and da 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 da. And you're gonna be this, and you're gonna. This is not how I see you. I see you as this, and you
are.
are not that. And it's like, no, listen. I am a
I am.
survivor.
Yes.
I am a stroke survivor, and that doesn't make me less than because we're using the words survivor. I think that is something extraordinary.
Very much so.
And we're not going to marginalize that at all. And so I want to just also share with our fellow survivors, like, you're not less than. I think that goes back to something that I wrote, that you be proud of the woman that you've become. Be proud of who you are, because when you have been broken down, when you've been stripped of everything that you've layered on yourself to be something, to
Yeah.
present yourself as something, you sometimes fool yourself. You are sometimes a misrepresentation. And it's like when and I don't want to mess up the scripture, but it just reminds me of when Eve disobeyed God, and they were naked, but they didn't see themselves naked because
Mhm.
they were in all of this glory. They
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about that. They didn't have to worry about shame. I feel like when we are stripped of all those things that we thought we needed prior to our stroke, we go into this place of shame. We go into this place of feeling like we are less than, and we are
Yeah.
not enough, and we are not adequate, and we are not qualified, when we are more than enough. Then when we are a survivor,
Yes.
we've survived something that a lot of people in this earth hasn't. When you look at just the statistics, 795,000 people annually, 15 million people globally, only 26% of people survive from bilateral cerebellum strokes. When you look at those statistics alone, and to know that you are a part of the number, you are in the number,
Yes.
girl.
That's it right there. And while you were talking, I just wanted to real quickly. I was gonna I put up the definition of survivor and warrior just to quick to understand because how you were
Hmm.
saying because it's so powerful as we are survivors. And
Hmm.
I'll just take one of a person remaining alive after an event of
Hmm.
others that may have died. So we are the statistic. But then we look
Hmm.
at warrior. The warrior is the person that's brave enough in former times of what they're dealing with that's fighting. So we are survivors. And at the same
Mhm.
time, we are warriors because, hey, we survived that death. But
Yes.
the warrior, because we still have that fight in us, we're still fighting because as a survivor, guys, this is nothing that's going to, okay, we're a survivor for the first 5 years and it goes away, baby. We're surviving the rest of our life because once we had it, it's there the rest of our life. So recovery is the rest of our life. And as I
Yes.
said, I'm 5 years poster, just like Tiera said, when she sees up to her fingers going to the keys. She's 6 years poster. It's like, thank you, Jesus. This is something, a gift that you're giving me back, a gift that God,
Mhm.
I mean, that was once lost, you're giving it back. So that
Mhm.
warrior mode, that survivor mode, hey, I survived, I got through it. I'm fighting to get better. I'm fighting to keep
Yeah.
progressing. I'm fighting. So it's just, they go hand in hand. It's beautiful just to be able to say, hey, we get to do these things over. We get to do it better.
Oh, sorry. That's my dog. Simba. Shh, shh, shh. Come here. Okay, I was going to say we can wrap it up with it, but Simba, I guess he had something to say.
Never has
But
say.
the another thing that this made me think of is if I would have told I would have told myself that it's okay to have emotional support.
Yes.
And Simba is my emotional support animal. I got him back in 2020, because after I was told one by my neurologist as well as my gynecologist, I remember my gynecologist telling me, "Do you want to play Russian roulette with your life?" Because I thought I would have had two children. We were gonna do like this back to back thing. And it was devastating because I started having this like baby fever that was really bad. I mean, it had me hurt that I couldn't go and like, okay, we're gonna get pregnant. We're gonna have this second baby with without risking my life. But now this is a you if you try to pursue this, you could be risking your life, right? And it's something that I'm still working and navigating through mentally, and me and God as well as my husband, we having that conversation because
Yeah.
I feel like God still has the last say.
Oh yeah.
But just this little guy being my emotional support, and being such a loving sweetheart has been something that I never knew that I needed. But looking outside of what people tell you that you need as far as your recovery, which goes to that patient advocacy and self advocacy within your journey, um, I think that it's okay to let yourself know, like, hey, if you need something extra, if you need that emotional support, that love or whatever to comfort you in your journey, do that.
Hmm.
Don't feel like you have to just wing it by yourself or you got to thug this thing out. That's not what this is about. If there is some type of companionship that's healthy for you, do that.
Yeah.
So that's all I got, girl.
All right. I
We are
truly
so
enjoy.
going to do this again.
Yes. Just
And
let
I
me know in.
I definitely will. Y'all, we have Tracy here. She's so amazing.
As you
Tracy, are
are.
you doing online training as well, or just because
Yeah,
I know you have?
yeah, do pretty much for the most part online training, so everything's virtual. That's why I said wherever you at, England, wherever the case may be, baby. I'm
Mhm.
have this sleeping disorder that Tiera has that I'm up at 2 o'clock in the morning, just doing whatever, lollygagging, and then I might
Right,
fall asleep at 2 p.m. and it's like,
right.
okay. So
Tracy, tell them about your upcoming event that you have going on.
oh, thank you. July 27th, guys, in Houston, Texas. So you could be in San Antonio, Dallas, all of the surrounding Houston, Texas, July 27th at the, I forget which hotel, Courtyard Marriott on 2900 Sage Road. We are having a stroke survivor. And here I got to say, look at God. So I just connected finally with, I don't even know if I'm supposed to say with, I'm going to just say a major hospital out here that is partnering with, I said, look at God.
Look
Yeah,
at
I look at
God.
God. Listen, listen, listen. So I'm totally excited. But bringing out everyone. And the thing is, you don't have to be a stroke survivor. If you know someone in the community, we're teaching you things. We're teaching you the science to look for to save somebody else's
Mhm.
life. We're teaching you resources. We're teaching you about health and wellness. And y'all know if I'm in the building, we gonna work out, y'all. So
Period.
everybody listen. So, and I was gonna say, the flyer does say 11 to 2, but we're
Mhm.
really starting at 9 a.m. because we got some people that said they want to do a mile walk. So guess what?
Okay, we
We're
gonna be
going to be
there.
9 a.m.
Mhm.
We starting our exercises, y'all. So the flyer says
Right.
11, but be there early because we getting it in. Just a day of just giving support to our beautiful survivors, y'all.
Yes, I love it. Oh my gosh. So yes, if you are in the Houston, Dallas, all those areas, right?
All them
If
Texas.
you in Texas, bring your
Yeah, and
hats.
the link is in my bio, but actually it's
Yes.
easiest, guys. What's you call it? Eventbrite.
Eventbrite.
Just type
Yes,
in Stroke Survivor event in Houston, and it's the first one that's gonna pop up.
absolutely. Well, y'all, y'all know y'all gonna see us
Yeah.
again because this is my girl. Thank you so much,
Thank
Tracy,
you,
and I hope
darling.
you have the most amazing week. Talk to you
You
soon,
too.
honey bun.
Bye.
Make sure you wear them blue shoes too.
Yeah, listen, you already know it. Yeah,
Later.
darling.